Okay, so welcome everyone. We are on, I think, episode 7, if I'm not wrong. Um, so we had a really interesting session last week. Unfortunately, Ed couldn't join us, and he won't be here tonight because he is saving the world in a different way to what we're trying to do in this game. Um, so there was a lot that went on last time. We attended Jackson Elias's funeral, where you met his solicitor, who wanted you to come and uh, to the reading of the will on the 19th of January. We had Lieutenant Poole come and knock on your hotel, concerned about your whereabouts and what was going on, and he suggested that there was some corruption within the police force, as every time they arrested someone who was potentially linked to some sort of cult within Harlem, they went missing before he could interview them. You visited Prospero House, the publisher of all of Jackson Elias's books, and we also met. Where's the lady's name gone? Shosenberg, who works at the New York Times, who offered you a little bit of a deal with some information with Victor in exchange for some more information about this cult and a potential meeting of Hilton Adams' wife, who has currently been incarcerated for all of the crimes of the murders so far. So lots and lots of options to choose. Yeah, huge amounts. There was a dead end at Emerson Imports for James, um, but still a lot to explore currently. So it's currently the last night or last time we ended on the night of the 18th of January, after meeting Shosenberg at the Times itself. Um, she suggested that potentially there might be some things in the archives. And after that, everyone retired because it was getting quite late. Um, upon returning back to your hotel, um, who was bunking with Robert? It was
Luke,
James.
yeah.
James. Okay. So upon returning to the hotel, I suppose there's an atmosphere almost before you get back to your room. It's kind of that innate gut feeling something's not right, and we haven't seen Robert for the most part of today and yesterday, as he's really struggling with Jackson's death. A good pal of his, someone who actually got his quirkiness and his strangeness and made him considerably cooler. He took this quite difficult. Um, so upon returning to your room, um, you you sort of go in to find that the lights are off and it's quite cold, as if the heating hasn't been on, and there is just a crumpled, folded note on the end of the bed.
I'll read the note.
Okay. So it's quite clearly Robert's script, and it looks hasty. It looks as though it was written quite pressured, and it says, "My dear friends, I have found a potential lead. It could lead to nothing. However, I will return in a few days' time, um, and it looks as though he starts to sign the end of it. Um, you can see an R and then a dot, and then it just stops.
Okay. I'll put that in my pocket.
Okay.
I probably would have gone back to my room, not that room, so I don't really have anything to do other than go to sleep.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to crash out now. I'll tell them in the morning.
Okay. So you fall asleep, not too concerned, and I suppose after today's been particularly emotionally draining. Um, it's been busy talking to a lot of people, traipsing around the city, talking to various people, trying to get the bottom. And I suppose your night is filled with dreams of swirling dreams of sort of files and sort of conversations with strangers, and I suppose there's almost sort of an awakening to sort of a slight shock of a black man with a piece of bloody rope tied around his head standing over you at night, only to find that it was a trick of the mind.
Well, that's a delightful evening or night. I wonder if that's much different from what we've all experienced since going abroad the first time.
It
So I can't...
holds resemblance of it, but it feels more natural.
Okay then.
More of a busy, scared mind as opposed to a something external.
Horrific, okay.
A non-alcohol fueled mind in your case for the first time in many years.
I mean, I did have a bit of whiskey in the like yesterday.
That just makes it worse.
I think if that happened to me, I'd probably wake up and go over to the sink, wash my face a couple of times, and then probably read the Bible, and then
Okay.
drift off.
Okay. You read through a couple of passages. It refers to sort of, there's those themes of strength and finding peace with God, and it's comforting. It's nice.
I force myself to sleep through the night.
You're right there.
I force myself to sleep through the night. That's it.
That's just what you're telling yourself.
Yes. As Victor stares at the ceiling, unable to close his eyes, he's like, I'm going to sleep through the night.
Okay. I suppose as morning comes, Victor, you wake up and to that strange feeling of actually, did I sleep or did I not? You don't feel rested. It's a lot of new stuff. Still, the thought of sort of wielding a weapon is new to you, and I suppose as you're getting dressed in the morning, your thoughts turn to your father. So, how would you guys like to spend your morning?
There's an important question which I need to ask the hotel clerk, which is, how long were the rooms paid for?
Yeah, that's a logical.
Yeah.
As it wasn't us that booked them. And
Well, actually, that's a lie. I booked mine.
You're paying for yours out your pocket every day.
I think we may all be sleeping in there.
No, you won't be. I can guarantee you that.
So upon sort of going back to the front desk and it's the lady that you've seen before. It's the lady that Jax is inevitably been annoying more and more as the week has gone on. And she sort of tells you, sir, it has been booked for 2.5 weeks. You've still got plenty of time. Is there anything that you can do? An upgrade, perhaps?
Nope, that's fine. And I'll wait for the others.
She's that bluntness is she isn't used to. She's used to the hard sale, but no one's shutting her down like that. Of course. And she goes back awkwardly to typing on a typewriter.
I thought I might have got an intimidation roll then.
No, it didn't need it. Your stature clearly did not need it. Not over there. Yeah. Okay. What about you two? So James is currently waiting in the lobby.
I think Victor would probably wake up, come round from what would have been a horrible night, and maybe take out what little writing implements he has and take them with him, with the mind to pen his father a letter, but then kind of just head downstairs with it, not really knowing what to say, but knowing that he should probably tell him what's happened.
Okay. Okay.
And then just head down to the lobby and be ready for the day, as it were.
Yeah.
I think I would just do my usual. I mean, I had a bit of a rough night and whatever, but I mean, I'm me, so I'll get on with it. I'll go downstairs and grumpily declare breakfast.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass the note to Jax when he turns up.
Okay.
All right.
So you get this letter, or very much a note, as it were. It's a small sort of, A5.5 piece of paper, folded, crumpled, and yeah, it reads as it does.
Okay. So I'm just trying to decide how I react to it. I think I just pass it back to James. But that's nice.
Hopefully we see him soon.
Yeah.
Food.
Or we'll be at another funeral.
Standing from across the room, I look at you both and I'm like, where is Robert? Where is he?
I'll give him the note.
I was so tempted to reply with something horrific, but
I read it and I'm like, splitting up, possibly good. I suppose he might have leads that we don't even know about yet.
We'll see. Robert's not the...
I heard one story of how he went off on his own and he had a wonderful time and got you many great leads last time you were searching for things.
Let's say he's not the best on his own.
was he talking about the party when he told you that?
He did say there was a party, yes.
Oh well. Yeah. Yeah, that's the reason why we don't let him go alone. He got so many leads.
I see. Has he been lying to me?
I wouldn't say lying. No, different perspective.
I see. Well then, what are we doing today? I slept so terribly.
Well, do you remember what we did yesterday about this time?
Yes.
Pancakes? So pancakes.
Fine, I'm there. I'm in. I'm with you.
Okay.
This time, Jax, I am with you unquestionably.
That is all we've eaten for like 3 days.
What's wrong with pancakes? You got a problem?
Yeah, I mean, considering there was no food at the wake, you had a slug of whiskey and some breakfast yesterday. You do feel particularly ravenous, and also that little bit of a surreal feeling when things aren't quite right and your blood sugar's low. So it's easy enough to head next door to the place that you've been going to. Denise. It's a slight rip-off. But yeah, same as it has been the last few days. It's quiet.
What time did we say we were going to meet Schosenberg for? What do you call it? Gonna go see the prisoner, which I can totally remember the name of.
Don't know that we did give her a
Hilton Adams. Well, it's a funeral time, 2 o'clock.
As far as it was left to my understanding, she said she could hook you up, but you never said anything.
Yeah, I'm never gonna talk to that lassie in any manner that's hook you up.
Well, we need to go back anyway and get the notebook, don't we?
Yes.
So I guess that's what we're going to do after breakfast.
I just go there, meet the.
Because I didn't get to go and have a look in the archive anyway.
Oh, didn't you do that? I thought you did that.
No, because we didn't actually do that at the end of the last session. We ended the session.
Yeah, because
Oh.
James is going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Because he's the real old man around here.
Right, so where's this unarmed?
Oh dear.
So breakfast then.
Yes, breakfast. Pancakes.
I get French toast just to be different.
Okay. Okay. um, it's nice. I suppose it's different to how you have it at home. Usually it's just eggy bread. Here, it's a lot of powdered sugar, and it's don't know.
This is home.
Huh?
This is home.
Not to,
Not for
not to Victor.
Not to Victor.
Mm.
Home for you. Yeah. So, yeah, you enjoy your sustenance. Feel slightly renewed as you contemplate your plan for the day, where thoughts are thrown out about returning to the New York Times. Yeah.
I have only a couple of places that I would like to go today, boys. I would like to go and get my notebook back, and I would like to possibly maybe visit a library. I'm not sure which one. One New York Public Library, possibly. I'm sure they would have information that I'm looking for.
That sounds like a glorious day.
Possibly also the Astoria,
The what, Hudi?
the hotel.
The one where
Yes.
the incident happened. That sounds way more interesting than some bloody library.
So we go to the Times first.
Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to be.
No, talking to both of them. We go to the Times first
Yeah,
and play it from there.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's easy enough to find your way. The snow today is average. It's heavier than it was yesterday. It's almost a flurry. It's definitely settling again in the middle of the road. It's making it more and more difficult for traffic to make its way through. It's easy enough to get back to the New York Times itself, and I suppose as you're arriving, it's just as busy as it was when you left it. It seems like any time of the day is incredibly busy.
Right. I'm just going to push my way back to the. I keep putting these notes away. What was her name's desk?
Back to Schoenberg.
Rosenberg.
Schoenberg's desk.
Yeah. Excuse me. So she is again sat at her desk, typing away. As you start to approach her.
I follow in the wake and then just kind of like walk up to her.
I'm
I'll
gonna be-
loom.
Yes, I only go. What did you say?
So you got those? You got those notes for me back, please.
And she almost doesn't hear you for a second. There's kind of like a moment of awkward pause as she's tapping away, seeming to be in the flow. Fuck. Yeah, what?
Those notes, I gave them to your boy yesterday to get copied.
It's like there's a long drawn out as she loses her train of thought. Yes, and she opens the drawer with a slight force and hands over the notebook, Jackson's notebook that you lended to her to be copied, and there's almost like it's difficult for her to not break eye contact with the typewriter itself.
Can I kind of peer over her shoulder and see what she's writing?
Yeah. Make a spot hidden just on I suppose with advantage because it's quite easy. Just to see how much you gather.
Nothing.
I suppose it looks as though she started to copy out some of the diary entries that Jackson has talked about. It's difficult to tell exactly which one's in that glance.
Okay. I just kind of like lean over to her, and at that point in time, I'm like, I won't keep you any longer, but if you could furnish us with the address for his wife, that would be lovely.
They've had so much hassle, I don't think it'd be worth it. When do you want to meet them?
Today?
Today? And she sort of starts flipping through, it's like a pocket diary. She starts flicking through. And what do you think I'll get out of it?
What do I? You've already got my notebook out of it.
And now you want more.
Well, I got nothing. I was waiting for you to give me the address.
Well, things aren't always fair, little boy.
Things are not always fair.
I'm gonna put my hand on Luke's shoulder, be like, maybe we should intervene.
There's almost a smirk and a playfulness about it. There's a game, there's a chase. It's not malicious, but
I
she's
don't
trying.
care. I'm not into
I
games.
know you're not. I know you're not. But you kind of get the feeling that she's almost trying to see if there's anything left to milk from it.
I already promised you what we would come back with. I already promised that you could come with us.
Well,
Come with us. It'll be so much better than anything you get here.
2 till 3 doesn't work. 4:30. No, it's too later.
What have you got that's so more important?
Do you not understand how busy I am? I need to be getting at least 3 articles finished a day because God knows it will be rejected. Look,
Then write one that will be very good, and don't get it rejected. Come with us, find all of the juiciest things, and have an easy day.
make a fast talk. Or a charm.
What's your fast talking charm, dude? Like 5?
5 and 15,
Haha!
but I'll take that extreme one.
Oh, damn, son.
Oh damn, son!
What was that, a charm? Okay.
It was
She-
an extreme charm roll, yeah.
She looks at you for a second,
Mhm.
and there's a moment of awkwardness for Jax and James as they can feel themselves blushing and they don't really know why. But she appears to be waiting. Well, I suppose I could make time. And she puts down a time on a piece of paper that she rips out. And you can also see that there is a address. And she slides it over to you.
Okay. I take it, I nod to her, and then I turn around to leave.
Okay. So she's written down that from 1:30.
1:30 at said address.
You don't know if that's her address or make a psychology roll.
Where is psychology? Not a clue.
So her flirting goes completely over your head, and you're not sure whether this is the address for where you're supposed to meet or the address for
her.
or where she lives. Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking youngsters.
I take that completely obliviously, and I walk off back into the crowd to go
Okay.
down to the archives.
Okay, so you leave Schoenberg slightly dumbfounded, as you are unbeknown to the charms of females yet.
It's just an idiot, I think.
But you've gotten better at charming them, just not understanding how to. Receive that charm back. So, you said you made a beeline for the archives, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm going to go for a coffee.
You're going to go for a coffee?
Archives, not my cup of
Not
tea.
even bother helping. Okay. It's easy enough to find sort of a small cafe that for, sort of 20 cents will keep will give you some crap coffee. So Victor, what are you doing, Jax? Are you going with, or who are you going with?
I'll join Victor, I think. Just because that's what I did last time. I think that's probably the split. We can't really have two grumpy people together.
Okay. So you it's reasonably easily signposted like the other different areas of the New York Times, how it's split up, and they you go down sort of a spiral, almost brass-looking staircase, and it gets slightly darker, a little bit more dusty, and you find yourself in the archives. Now, unlike any, I suppose that the most prominent feature as you get down here is the drop in temperature. As you go below the ground floor, it's considerably colder. Then there's that almost musty, damp smell about the air. But it's easily accessible. No one seems to be bothering about getting in your ways, and you can,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, there's nobody around who seems to be helping or anything.
There are a couple of people, like a couple of clerks, sort of almost looks as though they're doing something similar, but as part of a job.
Okay. Okay.
Sort of paperwork bitches.
And nobody seems to be wearing like a ID badge or anything for down here, and nobody stopped us from looking or anything.
It doesn't seem like it's that restricted.
Okay. In which case, I just start searching, I guess.
Okay.
Like, how is it organized? Is it just like books on shelves kind of thing, or?
So the archives of this are predominantly like articles, clippings. Every now and again you find some old research that someone's left here for one of their articles. It is organized poorly. That's
Okay.
how it's organized.
Okay.
Year seems to be the way it's done.
Yeah. I just find one of the clerks and I walk up to them and I'm just like, "Can you help me?"
Yes. So it's like a small nerdy guy with these huge jam jar glasses. He's wearing a sweater vest over a shirt with a little bow tie and some corduroy-like trousers. And he looks sort of expectantly and quite helpful. And it looks like he's just happy for some social interaction today.
I'd like you to help me find everything on a Locksley fellow, please.
A Locksley fellow?
Locksley fellow, yes.
And he blinks and sort of adjusts his glasses slightly. I'm going to need more than that.
To do with Penhew?
Okay.
No, sorry, to do with Cowles. To do with Anthony Cowles. You know
Cal.
the name? Yes, Cowles.
And there's this blank expression upon his face.
What use are you?
And you see him quite hurt. He was happy that someone wanted to talk to him, someone wanted to help, and then to be shut down, and told that he's useless.
Okay, fine. Do you have any records of explorers, people who've been around the world and have catalogued animals and things?
And he sort of considers the question from his own. We have events.
Events.
Events like world news.
I see. That's not so just. I turn back to Jackson. I'm like, I just kind of shrug at him, and I'm just like,
I mean, what do you want me to do? The guy's clearly useless.
Fine. Then, what have you got on the Carlisle situation from years ago?
And then he picks up. He understands there's something he knows about. This is a very famous event that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Loads. And over the next 10 minutes, he starts bringing you bits and bobs. I suppose largely stuff that you've read in the papers. You remember reading them on the boat trip over. And each time he presents them like a dog bringing over a sock, waiting for some praise, very expectantly and happy with himself. But everything you kind of already know.
Mm-hmm. I look at him and I'm just like, not this stuff. I want the. Do you ever print pictures in your newspaper? You must do.
Yes.
Do you have a photograph archive? Maybe some of the pictographs from Miss Hypatia Masters, the photographer that was with them. Do you have anything from there? Any of her work? Anything?
And he thinks for a minute, and then he starts to go away. So in terms of if there's anything, roll a luck roll. Okay. So he comes back after what feels like an hour, which is closer on your pocket watch to about 20 minutes. But it's been a long time doing nothing, watching the nerds sort of go around. And he comes back.
Bloody nerds.
Bloody nerds. He comes back with this scrapbook, and he goes. He goes. It's kind of different, but you know, the murders, the Harlem murders.
Yes.
Well, they thought that one of the folk was Carlisle's friends, and he opens up the scrapbook, and there are some pictures of some bodies. There are 2 on the front page, and then on the third there's another picture of a body, of a man in a very well dressed suit, with a fedora hat. And he looks very sharp, and he's wearing sort of expensive leather shoes, and he's lying on his side, and again you can see a the symbol carved into his forehead.
Who is this? Witherspoon?
Yes,
It was Witherspoon. What it was? Of course it was. Where was this?
something on the edge of Harlem, but why would he be in Harlem?
Why indeed would he be in Harlem?
And then I'm just going to be from the chair that I'm sitting on and the newspaper that I have, like covering my face. Like, I have no idea. Why would he be in Harlem?
Exactly. As he copies Victor.
Well, do you have anything more other than this photo? No.
And
Witherspoon. Okay.
I really need to I need to be doing my research, so
Of
I'll
course.
see you around.
What are you researching now?
I can't tell you that. There's look for the paper tomorrow.
I won't tell anybody if you tell me now.
Do a charm. Ooh, I was not expecting that. So,
You charming all the people today.
The unstoppable charm machine. I don't need to put points into that.
God damn. Okay. So they are talking about how so he's researching into food hygiene, and he
Okay.
is looking at whether some of the African stores within Harlem are selling some pieces of food that are unfit for consumption, and that are threatening to be shut down. These are almost pillars of the community in the sense that they are not necessarily upstanding, but they are important parts of the community. You got an 8, didn't you? I will leave it at that.
I literally just look at him and I'm like, I need to know where these are. Which ones they are. Tell me. If he's awkward, I just immediately look over at Jax and I'm like,
Hey, don't. Unless, like, are you making a huge noise?
no. I'm literally just looking at you to like threaten the guy.
I have a newspaper on my head.
Okay. If you've got a newspaper on your face, I look back at him and I'm like, I point at Jax, and I'm like, you don't want my friend to get involved. Just, which ones? I'll come back and see you one time.
Okay, so for a slight minute, you're unsure as to whether you can smell urine. As he critically fails. Says juju. I don't know where it is. It's they call it juju.
Okay. My father always told me never to go messing around with bad juju, but I'm on it. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
He awkwardly shuffles away.
I leave Jax out of there.
It's good. Sounds good to me. Got something interesting rather than sitting in a fucking library. Ugh. With goddamn nerds.
And they a couple of them look at you as you say that.
And I'll just raise my hands and walk out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just leave. I leave. We go and find James, I guess.
Okay. It doesn't take you long. You find James at a small coffee shop called Moose. Anything of note, James, or are you just enjoying your coffee? Oh, you muted, mate.
Just drinking coffee, reading a paper.
Okay.
Assuming there's nothing in there interesting.
The
Times.
Is there? Let me have a look. Roll a luck roll.
Try to fail it because.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh, only just.
We can't pass everything. Joe's been passing too many charm rolls to pass.
It's whether or not you want to try and push it, or whether or not you want to try and spend 3 points.
Can you spend luck to pass luck?
I believe so.
How do you even spend luck? You just drop your luck.
You just permanently reduce it.
It's
so
probably not
to equal it. Let me just double check whether you can do it on luck ones, because there's 2 that you can't do it on. One's mythos.
I was pretty sure luck was the other.
Was it?
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense. Okay. I think it's going to take me a while to find, so what I'll do is we'll just rule for this one that...
Yeah, it's fine. I won't push it anyway. It's not worth it for something in the paper.
Okay. Just because we haven't been really doing it, just in terms of rules and how you would do it. So, you know about pushing the rolls, yeah? So you can always try and push it in the middle as one stage down, and you would just describe how you might do that. So you might be purposefully... You're reading the paper, but then you might be looking for something. Or yeah.
Can I effectively trigger that to happen by looking at it, by seeing him reading the Times newspaper, knowing that I've just gotten something amazing out of the Times newspaper, and like look at James and be like, don't put that newspaper down, keep it.
Okay.
would like kind of like encourage that roll as a push the luck roll from my side.
I'll
Does that
allow
work?
it. I'll allow
Yeah?
it. Yeah, I'm happy.
I just look at James and I'm like, James, you see anything good in there? Like, I just got the most amazing lead. We are going to Juju.
I'm going to hand him the newspaper if he's interested in it, because I haven't seen anything interesting in it.
Okay, fine. I like take the newspaper,
Mhm.
and then I immediately hail a cab.
Okay.
I think.
What?
So you're not reading it now.
No, I'm gonna read it in the cab on the way there
Okay. Okay. Where are you taking the cab?
to Juju.
To Juju.
Immediately.
It's actually driving it, know where it is.
Unquestionably, Harlem, Juju.
Okay.
Sure.
That's
So
another luck roll.
so cabs at this time, they haven't been authenticated by sort of, you know, the yellow cabs we're very much used to.
Yeah.
So you would know before getting there that it is Russian roulette. You
Okay.
could get someone that will overcharge. You could get someone who's an asshole. It's certainly not
He's taking us, right?
safe.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not leaving you two behind.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fucking matter if you get one that overcharges. We'll beat the living shit out of them. So
Okay.
Companies.
I assume James knows what the rough cost of a good taxi should be,
So
since you lived here at some point, right?
yeah.
And I'll ask for the. I'll tell them where. Well, I won't because I don't know where we want to go. But
Yeah.
I will make it clear that I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, sure. Just before you do this, roll. Trying to think. An education might be it, Victor. Yeah, let's roll an education. Okay. No, you are happy to head to Juju as fast as possible.
Just rolling up into Harlem.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
And did you say you were reading the paper on the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get into a cab of sorts. It's reasonably
I'm
easy
asking Jax why we're going to Harlem because I have no idea.
Something about fucking Juju, man. I don't know. Honestly, he went. We talked to some fucking nerd. The nerd gave him a picture. I may or may not have been asleep. But then all I know is Juju Harlem. And
I like from behind the newspaper. I just flick it down. I'm like Witherspoon. Other things. It'll make sense. And I flick the newspaper back up.
Okay.
I'm checking the knuckle dusters are in my pocket.
Can you make an education check as well again, Luke, please?
Yeah. Education. No.
No. Okay. So you kind of like Harlem. Having lived here, Harlem makes you uneasy.
Yeah.
It's like a long time ago, I suppose. You know it. You know, or you've been told that it was reasonably affluent. But it got pretty much abandoned. You know, by its original sort of inhabitants of sort of Italian and Jewish refugees, and it become very much more a black Caribbean place from sort of British Caribbean colonies, and all that you kind of remember at this point, and what makes you slightly uneasy, is that you know, sort of around the time that you might have been here, it was quite you know, quite notorious for the Italian Black Hand gang. You know, extortionists, and it was genuinely just pretty gangster-like in terms of who controlled speakeasies, and quite rough. Yeah.
I'm assuming I would have a reasonable idea on that, given James's background.
Yeah. So I suppose that's what I'm reinforcing, that that is what you would know.
So that's why I'm concerned.
Yeah. Have you rolled your pushed luck, Mr. Mr. Muse?
No, not yet.
Boom. Okay.
That's
So,
how we do
at the back of the paper,
Whoa.
at the back of the
it.
paper,
I literally just like open the paper and it's like, this. Done.
beautiful. At the back of the paper, you recognise that there is an advert for a private, um, a private practitioner going by the name of Dr. Lemming, and you realise the name Dr. Lemming.
Mhm.
It's kind of clicked, and you realise that Lieutenant Poole has spoken about it before, and it's an advert, talks about private medical care, and that he also lives in Harlem itself.
Cool. Fine. I guess we've got 2 places to go in Harlem. Wait.
Cool.
And kind of wait until we get to Juju.
Okay. So I am just thinking. Okay. I suppose James and Luke. Sorry, James and Luke. For fuck's sake. James and Jax. I'm trying to think of what role would be useful. But you would definitely know this. Just make is it intelligence tests? Yeah, just general intelligence.
Both of us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm an intelligent man. I'm not an intelligent man.
Whoa.
Boom. Okay. As you see that Victor is very much intent of getting to Harlem, there is something on his mind and that he is very intent on getting there. You realise that today is Monday the 19th and there is the reading of the will at some point, which you need to arrange. And you have also said that you would go
Oh yeah.
and meet Hilton Adams's wife. So this detour, whilst you're happy or are not happy to go on, you realise that there are a lot of things to do today with a time limit.
That's a good point.
I'm assuming it's still relatively early.
You have gone to the morning, you've looked through the archives, you got up early. I'd say this is about 10 to 11.
Right.
Cool. We definitely need to go to that well because we said we would.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but that
haven't
was.
realised this.
Yeah, I suppose you have to do that today.
But as you were in the car, Victor is very excited over the paper. He is determined to get to Harlem.
I mean, that's fine by me as long as we get to the other 2 places before dark, I guess. I'll just mention it out loud. Like, just remembered we gotta go to the will reading and
Yes.
as well as that stuff.
Yeah.
Harlem's not somewhere you want to be on your own.
Okay. I won't be here on my own. We'll just stop at Gigi, and then we can come back for.
That's a really good point. Victor doesn't. Oh, sorry. I'll just point to Victor. Like, you don't need to come with us to the will.
I'm
Because
not
I
going to.
highly doubt that you'll be in the will.
I mean,
I mean, come
Don't
on.
sugarcoat it or anything, but
No, the guys they never met him.
no.
His
His dad might be.
Yeah, but his dad's not here.
Sure. How long do we have in this cab still? In fact,
So,
how long till we get there, James? How long?
How long did we get there?
so travelling to Harlem, it's not that far. The weather's not amazing, so it's probably going to be closer to 50 minutes, I think.
Right. It's going to be about 12-ish when we get there.
12-ish we get there. And I am supposed to be elsewhere at 1:30.
Supposedly.
how long is it gonna take me to get to where I'm? I asked the cab driver, how long does it, if he drops me off in Harlem, or it stops in Harlem where we're going, how long until it takes me to get to this place that I hand him the address?
Okay, I see your question. Well, probably about an hour and a half.
So I will have zero minutes, 0 minutes in Harlem.
Do we need to do Harlem today?
Yes. I think so. I look at the cab driver and I'm like, fine, take me here, and I point at the address.
Fine. And he starts to turn around. It takes, he does a UE when the car slips as it goes round on the snow. He seems both agitated and pleased, knowing that the fare will be bigger. But
And he's not got to go to Harlem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like a portly sort of Italian man with a large cap, like one of them farmer caps. Okay. So where are you going? Sorry.
To the address that she gave me on the piece of paper.
To the address that she gives you. Okay.
Yeah.
And
on the way there, I look at the both of you and I'm like, I can look into this if you want to go to the will reading.
Probably not a bad idea.
And if you need it, I can quickly write you something, and I'd like write down on this piece of paper that I'm sending both of these two people as representation for myself on behalf of my father, and then I sign it.
Okay. Yeah, you do that. So, it is not long before the cab driver pulls up, and he it's a reasonably nice area, to be honest. The houses are terraced. They're it's how to describe it? There's trees are sort of along the sidewalk, and as you sort of go up the stairs to the houses, so they're not directly on the street, but there's no driveway. This is built by the many, not for sort of built for the rural sort of life. It's definitely very urban. She lives in an alright area. She's doing okay for herself, and it appears that there are flats. These aren't sort of single houses.
Sure.
Or the one that she's driven up, your cab driver has driven up to, and he pulls up with a sort of a jolt and he's like, "Here you go."
I get out and I look at the two of you and I'm like, "Are you coming out, or are you going to take the cab right to the will reading?"
I guess we can walk from here. There's no point in taking the cab there and spending even more money.
Sounds good to me.
So we'll all get out.
And as you're getting out, he sort of clicks his fingers to gain your attention, and there's that sort of moment of pause where he's expecting payment.
I have no idea how much he's expecting, so I look at you, James, and I'm just like,
I presume he's got there's some way of knowing, because how much? I'll ask how much.
There's nothing to verify it that you can see.
Yeah. There's no meter.
No. And he's sort of back and forth, and let's call it an even 20.
Is that excessive?
Roll intelligence.
Can I roll as well? Because living in America, that would be...
You've lived in America.
Well, I live in America, yeah.
That's it. It's fine.
Okay. I mean, straight off the bat, he's trying to rip you off by a good $6, which 15. Is a lot of money at that time. It's 14.
Yeah, I'll say 15.
Okay.
I'm going to be generous.
17.
I'm going to grab him by the scruff of the neck and say 15.
Okay. And he pulls up against the back of the chair and yeah, 15.
I'm not actually sure I've got $15. Oh no, yeah,
What's your
I've
daily
got three.
spend sort
I've
of
got
limit?
quite a lot. Yeah, so I'll give him $15 and leave.
I mean, I'll pay half, and then we don't have to worry
No,
about
it's all right. I'm actually quite well off.
And he leaves, and there's a slight wheel spin as he clearly leaves with a huff that he means to. Yeah. So what happens?
Yeah, I
I
think
guess.
Victor just is like, I can interview this lady. You go see your friend. Go see him or his will.
Oh, you'll interview this lady, will you?
So what time is it now? It's like 1:30.
Well, you bailed on going to Harlem.
But you said it was an hour and a half back from there, so he was like zero
If he
time.
if he went
It was an hour
if
and
he
a
went
half if we went all the way.
back
So
and back, so it's probably closer to just gone 12.
Right.
So you've been messing about for about an hour and 20 minutes.
So well, I'll say we'll meet in the diner at 5,
Diner of 5.
Okay.
and then we'll stroll off towards the.
Solicitor or whatever it
Yeah.
is, lawyer.
Okay. Okay. So you guys start to make your way over to the solicitors, which not Carlisle, sorry, that's the wrong guy. He gave you his card about where to meet him. Sorry, there's so many bloody leads in this campaign.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so Ramsey's office, his own office on Lennox Avenue, is where he's reading. So you're looking for I suppose the solicitors themselves as opposed to anywhere else. It's reasonably easy to find. Which storyline do you want to go down first?
I don't mind either way, really.
Do yours first.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you kind of start to walk up to, you find the office, and it's on 124th. The office from the outside looks pretty small, and there's not really a lot to it. It looks like a sort of one-man band kind of business. And there's kind of like a nice green door on the outside with like a light brass knob, and he looks like he has gotten his name put on the side of the wall. So, it's quite smart, but it's small.
Okay. I mean, it's probably what I'd expect from Jax, really. Jackson.
It's what I'd expect from Jax.
You'd expect a fucking shack somewhere. From
Drunk bartender.
yeah. Oh, I met Jax once. He's fucking hilarious. Yeah. I guess we'll just knock on the door.
Okay. There's a nice.
Sorry, I've just got the mental image of the two of us. Not intimidating at all.
I mean, he invited us.
So there's a large I wouldn't know what to call it, like a wrapper. You can make a decent sound, and a moment later you see Ramsey come to the door again. This small African American man, quite thin, but reasonably smartly dressed, and he looks still as nervous as he did at the funeral. Gentlemen, you never called, but welcome. Please come in. And he opens the door for you, and as you see in, it's simple, it's neat, it's nicely decorated, and he kind of ushers you down a hallway. There's the odd artistic picture on the side, but it is nothing too great. There's nothing personal about it. And he leads you into where there's a small office with a desk, and it looks like he's laid a couple of chairs out 3 chairs facing his desk expectantly.
Okay, we'll take a chair.
Um,
I'll
he
sit
go-
the other chair, so there's a chair in the middle.
Okay. He goes to a filing cabinet and he pulls out the door, and you can hear him rustling through it. And your heart almost leaps, Jax, as he kind of pulls out this bottle shaped, wrapped in brown paper and tied with a string. And he comes over and he places a couple of files down on the table, and then there's a teacup, a mug, and then a glass itself, and he starts unwrapping the paper sort of expectantly, and
I'll just be peeking over so I can see what it is.
okay, okay, so it's just sort of expectantly
Do
peeking
you
over.
care?
He's happy and slightly calmer that you're interested in this, and it's not the most finest of stuff. However, I thought it was appropriate, and we have a drink in his name. And as the bottle starts to unwrap, you can see that it's a bottle of bootleg bourbon.
Oh, sweet. I'll say, yeah, I love Jack's, and I'll definitely drink in his name.
Okay, so he pours like a healthy glug into each glass. The smell of malts is overpowering and strong. It's definitely not the best quality, and there's almost like a smell of what do you call it, antifreeze to some degree.
Doesn't matter to me. I've had worse.
But yeah, it'll do the job certainly. Are we waiting on the third?
No.
He's doing other things. We'll relay the information onto him.
I see. Well,
We've been told to act in his absence.
I see. So I suppose there are some formalities that we need to go through, and he starts to
Indeed, and then I'll drink a little bit of the glass.
Okay. He starts to go through some of the paperwork and starts looking through, reminding himself as he's reading. So and it becomes quite structured and scripted, even the parts that don't necessarily need to feel like that way. I apologize for your loss. It is difficult losing someone who is so close to us, and the world is certainly a sadder place because of this.
Yeah, get on with it, please.
And he feels awkward as he's sort of shuffling through his papers. Yes, yeah, of course. And almost kind of, it looks as though he had parts of, things, and he's sort of putting them to the side and skipping bits. And you see that there were some written out memories of Elias that were quite contrived. So he starts to talk about. I suppose the day before it all happened. I saw him. He wasn't necessarily forthcoming with anything. I never thought he was in any danger. Did you?
It's been a long time since we saw Jackson.
Yep. It's come to a shock to all of us, really. A massive shock. One that can only really be filled with drinking to his memory.
I'm not drinking.
You're not drinking.
Well, I'll take the glass, but I'm not drinking.
He does not get your sarcasm.
Yeah.
Sarcasm is more of a, please pour more of the...
What was your opinion of him? What was your opinion of Jackson in the last days?
Good man. He wanted to make sure his affairs were in order, as we all should, gentlemen. And he slowly slides a card ever so slightly forward without talking about it. He did not believe he was in fear of his life. He never said nothing to me. Did you?
No, as I say, we didn't speak to it. He seemed himself, though.
quirky as ever. And as he tries to crack a joke, there's an odd smile. It looks more like a grimace.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the card. What's the card say?
Um,
Is it Bill?
no, it says Ramsey's attorneys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sort of it says this is his address on the back. Nothing more. Yeah.
I'll take it and then put it in my pocket in my jacket, but in a kind of like, I'm totally gonna look at this kind of way,
Okay.
just in case he pours more drink.
Okay.
I'm just trying to build up a rapport so that I can get more alcohol.
Okay. Have you necked yours?
No, I think that would be a bit.
He's probably neck mine as well.
I'll definitely be eyeing up James's. But,
Okay.
I think I'll probably have like drank about half of it, and then maybe now I'm taking small slips.
Okay.
Is he going to be losing sanity points here when he can't drink?
With addiction is very much a part of the rules,
No,
boys.
he started addicted.
And he screwed himself. Yeah. So he goes on to talk. He sort of down to business, boys. Mr. Elias gave full eternity powers to myself, and I have the authority to liquidate his assets. He has asked that I move all these assets and create and manage a single fund. He has asked that you, as his friends, you use this money to investigate the Carlisle expedition.
Okay. Interesting.
Sounds
Not what we expected.
I was expecting a bottle of whiskey myself, but you know.
You didn't see this coming?
No. It's fair to say.
When did he change the will to this?
As I said earlier, he the day before we made some amendments.
How heavy were the amendments?
More so than you might imagine.
So you could say that he maybe knew about what was going to happen.
He did not seem fearful.
But he changed his will so that we could do this.
In the event of the worst, yes.
Interesting.
I am a little confused. If you were not expecting this, then who are you?
What do you mean, who are we?
Well,
You know who we are.
Mr. Smith, is that correct?
Yes.
I see. And Mr. Jackson?
Yep.
Then I suppose where is Mr. Muse and Mr. Dixon?
So Mr. Muse is in Englandshire somewhere, doing as usual. He didn't even come over. He sent his son, which I'm sure you saw yesterday. And
that was not Jakob?
no, he's about twice as annoying and twice as young. And Robert, well,
Robert has taken the news rather badly of Jackson's demise.
As have we all.
He is currently indisposed.
Well, I suppose this does bring up some difficulties. You see, I can only act as he would have wanted, and you see, I can make funds available to you, accommodation, travel, living costs and equipment, legals, bills, and anything you need if you get hurt, but only for the people in the will. I cannot disperse money to Mr. Muse's son. That simply isn't legal.
It's fine by me. I mean, we'll just give him money if he needs it. So,
How much are we talking about in this fund?
And he sifles through a load of pages, and he starts to talk about well, it would seem that after Peru, the all of you made some fantastic archaeological discoveries, and he has valued those assets at $50,000. Um, um, but I cannot release, as per he has stated. I can't give you all of it. Um, I must receive receipt and um, give it in parts to what you need. This is
That's
no willy-nilly fund.
we understand. We understand.
He looks physically anxious at the fact that he thinks to some degree that perhaps you might be expecting a lump sum to blow and do fantastic things with.
Well, I'm sure we are. I'm not entirely sure where he got 50,000 from, and if I got that much, how have I spent it? Ouch.
did he leave anything else in the will apart from money for this investigation? And his information. Did he leave his notebook? That would have been nice.
Mr. Jackson, I am incredibly glad that you asked that question. Please, he has written a letter for the event of his death. Please
Do you
have
know when he wrote this letter?
And he begins to cipher through these pages, and has a look for the right document, and he passes over this letter.
Quick to roll 20. No.
Yeah, whether that helps.
Yeah.
Oh, in event of death letter, I guess.
Yeah. So I'll let you try and read it. I will try and read it at the same time, although it is difficult. So, greetings from beyond the grave. By now you know that I have really left you in a whole heap of trouble. If I were still around to have an opinion on the matter, I would understand if you decided to walk away from it all. Hell, if I'm dead right now, that's good indication I would have done the same. But you know me too well, and I know you too well. If you were the kind of person who always did the sensible thing,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have had such a good friendship. You have been there when I needed you in the past, and I hope you will be again. If it is
Even if it's too
even if
late
it's too late for me
to save me.
to save me. Yeah, you're a lot better at reading this than I am.
So I've been pulling threads all over the world, and while most of them are still unraveling, I think I'm onto something big. I can't quite get this word though. Big C? It looks like Carlton.
It's on the crease of the thing, isn't it?
No. I'm onto something big. Something and something. So it looks like names.
Oh, that's the name of solicitor you're talking to. Carlton Ramsey.
Carlton
And
Ramsey.
what was the second word?
We'll fill in more
Jonah.
of the details.
Jonah's the publisher at Prospero House you met.
Okay, yeah. Fill in more
of the details for you. I've left some of my papers and notes with them, which should help you work out which something.
Which the second word looks like nests or met or
I think it
something.
meets your needs to pork next.
Yeah. Next,
Which should
maybe.
help you work out which
Hornet's
hornet's nest you
nest.
wished you
Yeah.
need to poke next.
All right, yeah, yeah.
I trust you for being my killers.
Bringing
Bringing my
Bringing my killers to justice.
of course.
I'm assuming
Is that
I
I
Jim?
was
Jim?
murdered. It will be just plain embarrassing.
If I was
Run over by a
the
trolley.
trolley van. Follow my
Follow my-
investigation to the bloody end and seek out the truth. I'm not asking you to finish my
find-
book. More.
None of you can.
Write worth a damn.
Alright, there you go.
For
But-
none of you can write worth a damn.
Huh?
Always your friend Jackson.
Fucking hell, that was an
Can we get a bonus for something for deciphering that?
Experience points. Oh dear. Yeah.
+1.
So he passes you. That. Gentlemen, I suppose if you do accept, I would need some legal binding, and you would need to sign here so that I could release any money if you send me some receipt.
We understand. We're on this path anyway.
He raises an eyebrow. Oh.
And that's
I mean,
that's
That's where-
probably all you need to know for the moment.
that's where Victor is right now. He's following the trail of the Carlisle expedition.
Okay.
James is now regretting not having a receipt for the taxi.
Yes, most definitely. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to ask him or to?
Just so we're clear, so we just need to submit receipts to him, and he will reimburse us out of the fund. Just for the details of how this works.
Yes.
Obviously, it's not something any of us are used to.
Yeah. Yes. The card I gave you. Post the receipts to me, and I will wire you the money. And for a second, there's that kind of feeling of guilt, as though you thought his intentions was to gain more business and sort out your life insurance and your wills afterwards, when really it was just so that you could send him your receipts.
He really doesn't want our life insurance policies.
Yeah.
That's not a good gamble for him.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Or medical bills, for that matter.
No, not by any means.
I guess we bid him good day.
Thank you, gentlemen. I would need to
Oh, the papers. The papers.
Papers?
the
We
papers.
read the letter. Papers that were in the letter. Where's the letter?
Which letter?
What?
You just read the letter.
Yeah, the letter. Yeah, what about it?
Where is it? I can't get into it anymore.
That one.
That one. Didn't he say there's some papers that are with?
Oh, no, he'll help us, doesn't he? Yes.
No, I'm sure it said that there were.
Some things to get us on the way.
Yeah.
Fill in some of the details. Yeah, I
Yeah.
left some of my
I
papers
left something with.
with them, it just says.
Yeah.
Okay, roll an intelligence check, and I swear to God, if you get a fail on this.
Both of us, or
Oh,
Oh,
I can't see the roll.
Neither. Okay, you're not sure, Jax.
oh, okay. I mean, I'm not intelligent, so
Okay, Jax.
Hey.
Clearly, he is talking about the book that Jonah Kensington from Prospero House gave
Right.
gave you. That it went, and you are looking over dumbfounded at James as he scratches his head, making more of a meal of this than it needs to be.
I'm looking at my book.
Go on, take the piss. I dare you. I dare you.
I'm just gonna mind book so the guy doesn't pick up on it.
Funny. Well, gentlemen, I do need Mr. Dixon's signature if that is the case, and if Jakob Muse ever joins, please do let me know.
Will
We
do.
have to sign for that we're agreeing to this terms. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're pretty much signing just it's very very standard paperwork. It talks about how you have been granted a share of the will, how it's not being given to you all at once, the terms in which you intend to spend this as his last wishes. It's pretty straightforward. And he pours you 2 fingers each of bourbon left to sort of seal the deal and say farewell on.
What a legend! I love this man. He'll get a hug from me when we leave, I think.
I'll pour it into Jax's glass.
Jax, do me a con roll.
I'll drink some and then pour the rest. So I'd like toast.
You do a toast,
Jackson,
yeah,
and then pour the rest into Jax's glass.
Sorry, I'm just finding it. It's con, right? Yeah.
at the very top.
I did click it. There you go.
Oh, he's a hardened
To be
drinker.
honest, you're not really sure if that was alcoholic. I mean, it tasted like it, it smelled like it, but fucking hell, I'm drinking so much these days, it's just doing nothing. And with that, you sort of walk back outside, and the biting sort of cold, you sort of realise that it's not been that cold, but compared to inside, it was reasonably nice. And as you have time to sort of, I suppose that kind of cold brings you back to the present, thinking about all the memories of Jackson and thinking about what he's asked you to do, such a mammoth task. The cold kind of brings you back to the moment for a second.
Taxi! We've minted.
Yes, and this time, get the receipt.
No, I guess we walk. It's
Okay.
like, I guess we'd walk.
Okay. And before we go over to Romance Corner, we'll have a quick break. So we've just had the Jax and James have a sort of look and hear the reading of the will, where they found that they have access to a considerable amount of money, whereas Victor has gone to an address that Miss Schonenberg has given him on a piece of paper. So we've described you arriving at this place. It's probably still about the same time, so you might be slightly early.
I wander off. I wander off and I go and get a coffee, and I come back when it's time, I think.
Okay.
Or at least I come back I was like an hour and a half early, so I come back an hour later. So
Okay.
half an hour early.
So you're still early. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're loitering around, and I suppose after time, people in the houses start to notice this ever so slightly, that you're around, and yeah, so it starts to come up, and we get to a point where it's like 125, 126, 127, 128, 129.
I check the piece of paper and I look both ways to see like worried that I'm in the wrong place.
Okay, so it's definitely 132nd Street. You're definitely on 7th. You're definitely at the place that is described. 130. 131.
I go and
32.
Is there a set door that it's described that I should be at?
Yeah, so there's a door number. There's like a door and then a flat number.
I just go and knock. I go and like ring on the doorbell or knock on the door or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think how it would be in that time. So it's reasonably easy to get into the flats themselves.
Mhm.
It's not posh enough that there is someone opening the door for you, nor wondering where you are going. But once you get into the building, you can see kind of it gives the flat numbers per floor, and you spot that she is on the 2nd floor, or the address that she's given you.
Sure. I go up and I knock on the door.
Okay. So walking up the stairways, I suppose it's pretty, considering where you've come from, it's very nice.
Mhm.
This would be upper class to you. It's nice. I mean, for God's sake, there's carpet on the stairs. It's communal. This is lovely. Um, and you start to make your way up. You get to the doorway, and it's a plain brown-looking door. There is a oddly shaped peephole, um, and
Is there
nothing else.
a name? There's no name or anything on the door.
No.
I just knock on the door.
Okay. You can hear some movement inside, and after a moment or so, Miss Schoenberg opens the door. You can see that she is wearing um, a very well-fitting dress, and immediately she looks excited to see you. Ah, you came.
Yes. Are you ready? Wait.
Oh, I'm ready.
But, but so this lead that you have us following.
Ah, work. No, nice to see you. You look nice too. Thank you.
I mean, of course, you look lovely. You look lovely.
Moments passed, and she starts to uh, walk away, and you can see she's reasonably full figured,
Mhm.
and she is most certainly striding with her thighs sort of, and her hips moving side to side. She's an attractive woman. And there's something around the power dynamics. You can feel almost more enticed by her. She is certainly the one sort of in charge of the situation at the moment. Um, and
Still standing at the door. He's just like, "I- is, this is not. This is not the Adams residence."
she doesn't listen. She carries on walking, goes around a corner.
I like follow her in, but in a confused manner of just like, why am I here?
Okay. So as you go in, there's it feels reasonably homely. It's well decorated and it's
Mhm.
tasteful. There are a couple of black and white photos on the wall. There's what you seem to think is her with her family. There's by a beach, and as you start to go up, there's some tasteful vases, and it's quite nice. She's definitely doing well for herself
Mhm.
at the New York Times. Now, as you get to sort of the end of the hallway, there's a tea section, and to the right you can see a kitchen that's got its own fridge. It looks pretty modern. It's very nice. And to the left you can see it goes down, and there is some sort of light coming out of one of the doorways.
Sure. But I don't know which one where she is.
Well, I suppose it's suggestive from the light.
Yeah.
There's the other way looks like it would. There's nothing in the room.
I guess he just like slowly walks towards the light.
Okay. So you go past one room, and sort of through the corner, or sort of the small crack in the door, you can see that there is a bedroom. There is it's almost like a queen size bed with some floral decorations. And as you kind of get up the door um, to the room that you assume she is in, is slightly closed, and there's light spilling out from it. You can't really hear much apart from the low sound of like a gramophone playing out some soft jazz.
Uh, Rebecca, where are you?
In here.
And I just kind of like open the door and go in.
Okay. Almost immediately as you go in, there is her on the sofa, one leg over the other, sort of. She's not wearing any tights, it's quite suggestively, and immediately next to her there's another lady looking sternly through her, and you can see a small smirk go across her face as she pulls out from the side of her lap her note journal and a pencil. And she sort of signals for you to sit down.
He goes and sits down and pulls out his notebook.
Yeah. Um, please, this is Miss Adams, and as we had agreed, she has come all the way from her busy day at Lafayette Theatre to see you.
Of course. Thank you for coming. I just have some questions for you. Um, are you well?
Um, so the lady in front of you, she looks quite drawn. She's where's it gone? She looks reasonably drawn. She's an African American woman, and she's got these nice, fine features. They're very elegant. They're um, very small. She sort of sits with sort of a standoffish posture. She's wearing sort of like a blouse and a woolen skirt, and it's all very neat and pressed. And she looks like she's got her shit together, but she looks exhausted. She looks drawn. She looks like she hasn't eaten properly in a considerable amount of time.
Okay. Um, do you, your husband, Miss, I assume you believe him to be innocent of the crimes, yes?
Of course. Why wouldn't I think he was innocent? He's my Hilton. He's never hurt anyone.
No, no, of course he hasn't. Of course he hasn't. Um, so so quite honestly, uh, what do you do you do you think that he had any connection to the people who were doing these things?
Well, not on that side of the table, no.
Not on which side of which table? I'm sorry, I
You, and she talks quite sternly. You are suggesting he was one of these monsters that hurt people. That's not what he did at all.
no, no, not in the slightest. I'm asking how he knew people, if he possibly knew these people. What is it that your husband does when he is out? When he was out?
There's a sigh, and she looks at the floor, and she pauses for a moment. She contemplates, and there's a look towards to Rebecca for sort of reassurance, and she sort of mumbles under her breath, I'm not sure about this. What will we get out of this?
I'm
How can it help his case?
at best hope, or I would hope that he would be acquitted of his crimes. At worst, he dies a man who is uh, then absolved of his crimes and is in a better place.
There's almost like a moment where she's surprised that you heard, not that she was whispering, but kind of the words hit home,
Mhm.
and she readjusts and she sits, proud, tall. How how will we get him acquitted?
Uh, I'm not sure yet. Hopefully, in the day or so to come, we come across somebody who can be held accountable for these crimes. I've come face to face with the men who did this, and one of them got away.
There's a glimmer of hope in her eye. You've seen them?
Yes, yes. I shot at them. I missed. I'm not a very good shot. I'm sorry, madam, but I've seen them.
There's a small tremble of her hand, and you can see she's clutching um, a hanky of sorts. He
Does the hanky have anything on it, or is it just like a hanky?
just a plain white hanky. Yeah, it's simple. It's been used, but there's nothing embroidered on it.
Okay.
He he become concerned. In We've had many number of disappearances in Harlem, and he and his friends he took it among themselves. Teddy's, the bar. 2 blocks over from the theatre. All of them part of the Harlem Hellfighters. That's what they called themselves. They began organising patrols and to make our community safer. And you can see she's sort of talking in this powerful way. It was a good thing that they were doing. There was nothing wrong with it. They were protecting their own. And she's quite passionate about that. The police, she snorts and they refuse to believe us. They never take anything seriously. They see us as lesser people. And even after the mutilated bodies appeared, they did nothing. So we took it into our own hands.
I understand. Would you be able to tell me who the arresting officer was when they found the bodies and then they accused your husband?
I don't know. All they'd say is it's a crackpot with too much time on his hands. They never took us seriously.
I see. Could you describe him? Did you see him ever?
Hilton wouldn't let me leave the house. It was too dangerous.
It wouldn't let you leave the house, of course. Of course, too dangerous because of this hell that they were fighting, or too dangerous because of the police?
The hell, there was.
Did he ever talk about the hell that he was fighting? I assume he talked about the people that were doing bad things.
Make a charm or persuade roll.
You're gonna fail, dude.
I know, right?
You know what's really sad?
One.
What's really sad is you're only going to get 1 tick for this, but for like
Yeah,
a critical.
but like a crit, an extreme, and like.
Okay.
Somebody pulled that. Give him like 3 rolls.
Yeah. So you can see her posture start to ease, to soften, as you talk about what they were to face, and whether or not her eyes sort of gleam over as she starts to recall, but she starts to talk about almost in a third sort of point of view voice as she starts to talk about what her husband has relayed to her, and Hilton and his friends, they focused upon this death cult link, and they turned a reference up in the New York Public Library, some long dead cult from East Africa. I'm not sure what it was, and the police confiscated the journal, but there was a strip of red cloth as a bookmark for this journal. That's all I remember. It was.
Do you still have it?
Disgusting. No, they took it from us.
Of course. With the name. I don't remember what I wrote down. Let me look. God, I had this last week. 2 seconds. Where are you? Bloody tongue mean anything to you?
I
Does
I
that
suppose
bring back anything?
it looked like a bloody tongue. I
Like a
guess.
like a strip of red cloth is a bloody tongue. I see. What was it made out of? What kind of cloth?
I'm not sure. All I know is it was filthy.
I see. But he found this book in the new public library.
Yes, and as time went on, their activities, it was fantastic. They were a pillar, they were doing great things for our community, but it only caused more and more trouble between the white police. They saw this cult as nonsense and persecuted us blacks. They saw us as uneducated savages. It was awful, and even our churches began to hold sermons talking about it.
Of course, of course. Uh, uh, when somebody stands outside the law, you see, there's only so much that your 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 average man will take before he stands against you as well. I feel for you and your husband. Do any of your do you keep in touch with any of Hilton's friends?
Some,
Do you have a would you furnish me possibly with the address of any or the details or the contact for any of them?
I wouldn't know where they live, but Teddy's is still popular.
Teddy's.
Got
Is
Needham.
that address? Sorry.
This she begins to describe that there's a local bar sort of in the vicinity. It's not too far from here, and it's
Mhm.
kind of the local waterhouse. Um, Regardless of the prohibition, it kind of openly um, everyone knows Teddy's. It's the place to be.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Um. Well then, uh, I think I could have many more questions for you. I'm sure, but I have just a couple more. If you would be happy to answer them, uh, they
I,
won't concern directly your husband. Just things that I need clarifying. If you wouldn't mind, I know your
Mr.
day is very busy.
Mr.
Muse,
Muse,
Victor Muse.
thank you. I can try and answer some of these things. However, I do feel if you spoke to Needham, Douglas, Jackie, uh, I do think they would be good sources. They were out on the streets themselves. Um,
Of course, of course. This is much less about that. I've just got other questions. I will most certainly, however, follow up though. Thank you. If I certainly if I can find them in Harlem. These are more just general questions about Harlem, I suppose. Um,
Please,
do you do you do you know of a Dr. Lemming?
I've heard of him. Strong thoughts on the murders themselves.
Of course, but no direct interaction between yourself and him or your husband and him.
She lets out a laugh and she's like, "If we could afford this, we would not be living here, Mr.
Right.
Muse."
I understand. I understand. Um, and if if do you ever do you could you tell me anything about the store Juju? Does that mean anything to you?
Her ears prick up and she looks at you for a second. And there's a slow, open-mouthed nod as she talks. Um, just before his arrest. Never said to me direct, but spoke to Needham Johnson about old Juju. Only overheard the name.
Just the name of the place and speaking to Needham. I see. I see. Um, well then, I think I have two last questions. Uh, Witherspoon, what what does this man mean to you? If he means anything, meant anything, I apologize.
Um, she pauses for a moment, thinking, um, racking her brains. And then sort of looks again at Rebecca for reassurance and shakes her head at you.
Okay, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Thank you for everything you have possibly furnished me with. I've got plenty to go on here, But there is one last thing I must ask you. Did your husband or any of the men he associated with ever utter the phrase "blood and kisses" as a goodbye?
No.
Please rack your brain. This is important.
I'm afraid not. What? Where has that come from?
Just a hunch. Just a hunch. Don't worry. Don't worry. Connections here and there. You know when you're investigating things, it just sometimes it happens. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And as Rebecca stands, she's been taking notes the entire time. She grins at you with a sly, mischievous grin as she starts to walk you out. She puts a hand softly upon your back to sort of almost guide you. And as you kind of start to curve the corner, Millie Adams shouts after you, "He's a good man. He even in the army, he's a good man." And
I stop in my tracks.
okay, you feel that sort
And-
of does you feel that arm sort of almost push you up slightly as
and
she's continuing.
I just kind of like put my finger in front of her, and I'm like, "In the army, you say? Where was his tour?"
He's been all over. He mainly for training and part of the home guard, but
Of course.
he did serve well. Did his
Yes.
part.
I'm sure he did. But did he ever travel out of the country when he was with the army?
For training. Yeah.
Brennan, yes.
Some European countries could never give me the specifics.
Of course. Well, thank you for your time. I wish you the best, and if there is anything I can do for your husband, I will certainly do it. And then I
Thank
leave.
you. And Miss Rosenberg continues to walk you to the door, and as you get there, she stops, she pauses, and she almost puts her arm against the door, sort of suggestively. Keep the card. May need it.
Of course. Of course I will, Rebecca. Thank you, Miss Rosenberg.
And
I hope
before you even get to chance to finish, she almost taps the door with her foot, and it closes in front of you.
just still standing there, kind of dumbfounded by her, just like, I guess I'm going to go find them, and I leave.
Okay. It walking probably takes you about 35-40 minutes to get to the designated cafe that you guys said that you were going to meet at.
Yeah.
As you walk in through the door, it's a nice, refreshing, warm burst of air as the loud, noisy the fan blows it your way, and you can see the two of them. Jack's
Eating a meal other than breakfast.
yeah, yeah. In silence, as you would expect. Yeah, in the corner.
Sure. I walk over, I sit down, and I like immediately wave at the waitress to see if she'll come and like help me.
Yeah.
Serve me.
She points over to another man, and a waiter comes over. "Gentlemen, need any help?"
These two are eating, yeah.
They're already eating, yeah.
I'd like it. I'd like some food. I'd like something, please.
Straight away.
What kind of place is this?
Kind of like your average sort of diner. So, you're expecting sort of club sandwiches and sort of low-level chips and food, and you might be lucky enough to get a deep dish.
I look at him and I'm just like, "Have you got the burger? Any kind of like burger or something? No.
Yeah, certainly.
I'll take a burger."
And you can see he's a little bit slow. And
I hear you Americans are famed for your burgers.
I suppose we are. What do you want on it?
How it comes with all the things, cheese, and whatever else, salad, I guess. I don't know. I look at the other two. I'm like, I look at like James. I'm like, James.
There's a slow nod, and he looks like he's writing far more than what you're saying. And a drink.
And I look at the other two, and I'm like, root beer, I guess. I get that's what you Yanks have, right?
1920s America. I don't know.
I'm just gonna look at you and say, look, how old are you?
23.
You're 23.
Yeah.
Get out there for your fucking self.
I look back at the man. I'm like, a root beer, yes, or tea, I guess. I don't know.
That it is. And within about 20 minutes, he arrives back. There is a burger with everything on it, from salad to salami to cheese, to anchovies to everything you can considerably imagine. And there's a root beer and a tea side by side. And he puts him down,
Tea.
quite
I think tea.
quite proud of
Like an iced
himself,
tea. Yeah.
and walks away.
I kind of nod, and then I just tuck in, and
Okay.
for like the next 20 minutes, I'm just silent,
Okay.
just like eating.
It is salty. It is sweet. It is chewy. It is lumpy. It's sometimes nice. Sometimes it's a little bit strange. But
I'm into it.
this American cuisine, oh, it's exotic.
I'm so into it. I don't even care.
And it's really cheap. Terrible meat. It's probably dog.
Yay.
Cool. I like it was, unless if you guys are still silent the entire time I'm eating,
Yep.
then it's silent the entire time we're eating.
Unless you got something to say, then I ain't saying anything.
I finish my burger, like just mess, and I sit back on my seat and I just kind of like stretch, and I'm like, so, what did you get? How was the will?
Pretty boring. Offered us some booze, but other than that, we got this letter, and then I presume we kept the letter, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hand the letter over to him.
Sure, I read it, and I'm just like, okay, interesting. So he wants, technically you, not me, to go and have a look at this, yes?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm in if you want me to.
I'm just gonna look down.
I'll nod. Yeah.
Thank you, James. Dax, I have some information for us all day. If you wouldn't mind furnishing me with your attention for a few more seconds.
James is clever enough to know that Victor's doing all the lifting here.
And then I go through the entirety of what I got from the interview, and
Okay.
tell them that we'd have to go to Harlem right now.
And I'm saying we're not going anywhere near Harlem till tomorrow morning.
Right now. Like, he like slams his fist on the table. He's like, right
Okay.
now.
Are you
We've
just
persuading
gonna
them or
look up.
intimidating them?
No.
No, he's just talking with them. I'm not rolling
Okay.
against.
You're not not physically trying to.
No.
I am going to try and intimidate him to say, not now.
I'm just gonna look up as if to say, really?
Just
What-
for
what-
the sake of it,
what-
roll and intimidate, James.
What times is the
I mean, you're probably not going to get him to move.
It's fine. What time does the times go out in the morning?
So, being a New Yorker, James, and being from America, Jax, you would know that typically they get these out at 5 o'clock in the morning for things to open at 6.
Right. So we can get the paper at 5.
We've got to be there
If
before.
you can find anywhere open.
Got to be where?
That shop. We've got to be there.
Who are you gonna talk to? At 5
Whoever's there.
in the morning.
Whoever's there, because they're not going to be there tomorrow. They're not going to be there after the news hits, I'm sure. There's
Okay,
going to be other issues. We've
but
got to...
nobody's gonna be there at 5 in the morning, including me.
I'll take you there 5 in the morning, but it's not going to be pleasant. New York, January, 5 a.m. is not fun.
Then why can't we go this evening? There's things there. We need to go to Teddy's.
Because Harlem's not somewhere I want to be in the middle of the night. You willing to take this risk? Is this worth it?
I don't think he really understands the risk. So I think he's just probably like, yes, of course I'm willing to take the risk.
We may not come back.
Of course we're going to come back. We've got other business to attend.
Harlem is a very dangerous area.
You're a very dangerous man, by all accounts, Mr. James.
And I'm afraid to be in Harlem.
So then, with the very will of your compatriots with you, we should be fine. No. What would my father do? Would he stand here? Would he stop, or would he go forward? Would he
He'd
hunt?
go on his own.
He would go hunt, wouldn't he?
He would go on his own.
Fine then, I am going to hunt. I will make my father proud.
I am eagerly awaiting your report in the morning. I'll see you here at about 9 when we're eating pancakes.
You're not as worried as James are you? James?
I'm never worried. Definitely never worried about you, my son. You'll be perfectly fine.
But you won't come with me.
Oh, I'm old. I'll need to go to bed soon.
Can I at least take that pistol of yours?
Oh, definitely not.
I will exchange it for my father's rifle.
Oh, yeah. I'll totally take that. No. You're going on your own. Mainly because you won't do fuck all with my, what do you call it, my pistol again. You shot and you missed last time. You'll shoot and miss this time.
Fine. I'll see you both in the morning.
Cheery bye.
I'm going after him.
Yeah, he gets up and he leaves. He gets up and he leaves.
With the intention to go.
Probably first to Teddy's.
To Teddy's bar
in Harlem. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna shake my newspaper out and continue.
Well, what time of day is it right now? It's probably like 6:30 after eaten, and then.
Yeah, after you've had dinner, probably about early evening, I'd imagine.
Yeah, like if the shop's shut now, it's going to be shut later. If it's open now, I would be really surprised.
And it's definitely going to be shut at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Greg, how do you feel about me just discussing like a theory that isn't like something that he would discuss in character?
You would talk out of character about something. Yeah, go for it. I'm happy for them discussions.
So like, if this guy's writing this story about this place, Juju, and it hits the streets tomorrow, as it were, I feel like we might end up missing a potential interaction that could exist before that hits, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand why you're doing it. I just the character doesn't give.
No, exactly. I entirely understand that as well, and I think the reason Victor's so into doing it is because I don't think he understands like how dangerous it is, or even like fathoms like that it could go badly. He's investigating. This is the very quintessential of urban archaeology to him. Like he is uncovering truths by digging. Maybe his own grave.
But we only have the shop's name, don't we?
Yes.
All we know is the shop's name.
Yes, but
The shop is almost certainly shut.
yeah. Whereas Teddy's, the bar, the speakeasy, that's how I could have got Jack's there. There's alcohol.
Now that's yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thought actually. So as I like start to walk out, I get out the door. I literally stop, turn around, walk back in to the table, and I like stop at the table and I look at Jax, and I'm just like, Jax, I'm going to a bar. There's alcohol there. You coming?
You going to a bar in Harlem?
Yes, there will be alcohol there. I promise you that. Real alcohol.
I've had too much. I should go to bed, I think.
You old man. Bye, Jax.
Did you just call me an old man?
Yeah.
I'll stand up and walk over to him and then just peer down.
I look straight up at him and I'm just like, good, you're coming then. And I turn around and start to walk out the door.
Let's get your sit down.
Fine. Okay. I tried. And then I go and I start to go there.
You start to try and find your way.
Yeah. Are there trains? Can I take a train?
There is a
Cars, isn't there?
In 1920s there was a very poor train freight system.
But there's trams, isn't there?
There is. I suppose. What time we're talking? Late evening. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to get either of them to where you're going.
I would steer him towards a tram that will take us to Harlem.
Okay, so you guys are going to head your way to Teddy's, and Jax, you're going to go to bed.
Yeah, I'll stay in the diner. I mean, I'm saying I'm going to bed. I'm just not wanting to go with them.
Just don't want to follow them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just chill out and relax, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe read the papers and vaguely mull over what I've learned today, but in all reality, I've had a bit of alcohol, and I'm in a diner, so I'll probably just harass some of the waitresses.
Okay. After a while, they stop coming around to offer you more coffee.
I'll click and get my. I'm definitely a clicker.
Okay. Not that you can tell, but there's definitely the air of one welcome floating. You're quite content. You're quite enjoying yourself. So the two of you managed to find where the trams are. I suppose this time of night they're reasonably infrequently running. You know, you find them more sort of running around times, rush hour, as it were, as people are trying to get to and from their designated works. And I suppose you see one sort of going at a slow pace. These are kind of sort of probably about 10 miles per hour as it goes past the tram stop as you sort of come out of the diner, and you can see it start to leave.
Okay. We'll run and jump on the outside.
Okay.
I follow suit. Yeah.
So it's reasonably easy to run after that, and you see the conductor. Gentlemen, tickets, please.
Hand him. I can't. I'll presume I know how much it's like.
Yeah, it's like $1 to get to where you want to.
So I'll give him a couple of dollars for me and
the receipt.
You can.
I don't think you get a receipt for a trolley car.
No.
You do get tickets. You could treat the tickets as a receipt.
I guess we get a ticket.
Yeah.
No.
So he
I'm
kind
have
of
to keep giving $2 tram ticket when I claim it all back.
Damn it! Everything.
So he scribbles out on a piece of sort of, it's like a reasonably dark piece of paper. Scribbles out, and you can see times 2, and $2, and there's sort of like the little emblem in the corner of where you've been. It doesn't take too long until you get to the part of town, or till you start to get to Harlem. And I suppose as it goes on, the stops get more infrequent. There is an atmosphere about how people are sitting that changes. People are more uptight. And as the time has gone on, you start to notice that you become the only white people, bar the conductor, as you get to get to Harlem. And I suppose you kind of have a rough estimate of where you're going, in terms of where it is. And yeah, the tram stops and you get off in kind of a neighborhood where you assume that this is where that bar would be.
Yeah. Is there the theatre that she mentioned anywhere that I like as
The
the
Lafayette
major?
Theatre.
Yeah.
So let's move to Harlem.
Yes, a map. Don't you wish you were here now?
Yeah. So I suppose everything's reasonably within walking distance. It just depends how much you're willing to walk.
Okay. Like I was expecting I wasn't even expecting a map of Harlem, right? But this is a map of Harlem with 29 places on it. Fine. I guess there's a load of stuff pointing towards Harlem. Like, so we should go to Harlem, blah blah blah. Okay, well I straight up head to let's have a look here. I head to the theatre and then like go behind it to the bar, the speakeasy.
Okay. So it's reasonably easy. James, you kind of half lead the way because you know where Lafayette Theatre is. You've never been to this bar before, but it's a reasonably well-known place. And I suppose as you come up to it, I suppose as you arrive, it's more like a saloon than a bar. It looks like quite a local place. It's quite busy. There are people outside smoking, drinking. There are people inside. It looks quite busy. Considering that it's a weeknight too, it's a Monday night. Everyone is black.
Yeah, I immediately walk up to the bar.
Okay. So going through the doors, no one gives you any trouble upon entry, and as you go through, there are a few heads that turn. It looks like people are drinking sour mash, people are drinking kind of the hard liquors as opposed to sort of ales and beers and things like that. It's spirits is where it's at. But they're doing this openly. If that gives you any indication of the place that they're in. Everyone looks reasonably working class. It looks like a bit of sort of a working men's club. And I suppose as you go in, people look a little rougher than usual.
I don't think that like even phases Jakob. Like he just hasn't noticed at all.
Jakob wouldn't mind. What would Victor think?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Victor super doesn't care.
Okay. James, just roll an intimidate.
Oh, I'll just close my character sheet.
You know, you can double click on character sheets to make them go to like a see-through little tab.
No.
And then you can double click it and it comes back.
That's really good.
So, as you're walking through, James is kind of leading the way, and his broad stature, even though there are some pretty ruffians in here, they're moving out of the way of him. They're looking and giving sort of a second glance, and sort of almost as you're going through, there's like an air of the people on the outsides of this corridor that you're making. People go quiet. They don't give you any trouble, but they certainly pay attention. But there's that air of atmosphere of like, won't mess with him.
I think that's something that James is quite used to anyway. Wherever he is, he stands out. So it's not a feeling he's unused to, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So as you're going through, it's comfortable. It's furnished. There are tables and booths all around the walls. There are those globe ball sort of lights up on the wall, and some garish wallpaper. It's in the centre. There seem to be quite a considerable amount of tables, but people look as though they're sort of less gathering around them. They don't seem to be the popular places to sit. And a bar sort of lines one wall of it. It's a nice bar. It's wooden. It's got sort of a range of drinks you can see up against the mirrored glass.
Sure. I go up to that bar, and I like look across the bar.
Evening, gentlemen.
Hello. Hello. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions, and I'm sure a drink or two would not hurt.
Drink I can do. Questions he looks reasonably shifty. I don't know.
Well then, James, what are you having?
Bourbon.
One
Straight.
bourbon. One
And he
bourbon
starts- And he
and
sort of waits.
one of whatever that is, and I just point to a drink along the bar that somebody else is having.
Okay. So after a minute, he goes around, and he pours a bourbon. There's no ice in it, and he brings back another clear see-through drink. He looks like he's put a bit of effort into shaking it and mixing it. And as you sip, it is clearly soda water.
As I sip it, it's clearly soda water.
$15.
This is less alcoholic than I thought it would taste.
Good for the insides.
Of course. Well, I was wondering if you could point me in the direction of Needham or Douglas or Jackie.
Who's asking?
My name is Victor Muse. I'm here because I have some interest in the Adams case. You see.
Interest how?
I don't believe he was to blame. Quite frankly, and I've got some leads that he and his friends were following to follow up on.
So he leans across the bar and he leans in close. There's a tension to it, but it's not threatening.
Mhm.
If I was you, be careful how loud you talk. People's families, they died round here. Butchered up, left in the streets. It's a cruel way to go. I'll show you where Needham is, but respectful, kind, no trouble tonight. And he sort of tips his head over, and you can see sort of two big, burly bouncers.
I nod to him and I nod to him and I'm like, well, thank you for the soda water. It's going to keep my head clear.
Seems to be all the range at the moment. And he switches back from quite serious to very happy and very nice, this jovial barkeep. And he sort of tips over as he's sort of like, he knocks his cigarette packet on the bar and one comes up and he lights it, and there's a nice soft clink of his Zippo as he lights it, and he points over with his cigarette to a man in the corner. So he's quite a handsome, clean-shaven African-American man, sort of pretty average in height and build, but he's got most of the men around here have quite shaven heads, so there's almost like a stubble, whereas he's got reasonably long and he's slicked it back in waves, and he's wearing a pinstriped suit, and he's sitting in a booth at the moment as he's talking to another gentleman, quite robust African American.
I turn back around to the bar and I'm like, who is he with?
Douglas.
That's Douglas.
You
Good.
don't
Thank
want
you.
him as well?
I do. What are they drinking?
And he sort of peers for a moment. It's reasonably, I suppose the lighting isn't the best considering the lights in here. And he looks like really intently, and then for a second, as if it matters anyway, then boys, they'll drink anything that's going.
Pour 2 of whatever. Something that'll be nice for them. And tell me how much I owe you.
So he goes to the second to the top shelf, and he pours off two fingers of whiskey, and he sort of asks for his money. It's not overly expensive for the entire round, but certainly more than you might pay for your average sort of like shit whiskey. But it's hard to judge the prices considering the prohibition. Wherever's drink is drink at this moment in time.
Whatever it is, I pay it and I tip him.
Okay. And again, as you start to move away from the bar, there's almost like this sense of pariah as everyone moves around you. Yeah.
Okay. As we start to move away from the bar, I look back at James and I kind of make a kind of gesture of stay at the bar, like, or at least like not stay at the bar, but like you don't have to.
I'll wait at the bar. I'll take the hint and I'll nurse this glass of bourbon, not really drinking it as I tend to do.
Okay. And then I'm walking over. I see if I try and work out whether or not I get less of a pariah status being a mixed race individual rather than just a dude with a giant white man.
Roll a psychology.
I'm never gonna know this.
This is certainly
in everything.
This is certainly slight. It's a different feeling, but you are still like it's not necessarily common for people for interracial relationships to happen.
Sure.
It feels slightly calmer that there isn't a gigantic white man walking behind you who looks like a menace. However, you are still somewhat of an oddity to these men, and it is all men, to be very clear.
It is all men. Okay.
Even the serving staff, all men.
Okay.
This is a gents club.
Sure. I go and walk over to the booth then, and I put 2 drinks down, and I'm standing there. And I'm like, I say, Mr. Needham, Mr. Douglas.
As you walk over, they're talking about just how horrendous the weather has been lately, and you can see over the side of the chairs they've got these slumped long suits that those coats that they put over suits, and they both look at you slightly shocked and in awe, and at that moment we'll leave it for this week.